Gervonta Tank Davis belongs to the first category, though even he knows that survival, in and out of the ring, has always been part of his story. For years, Tank has fought not just opponents, but expectations. He's carried the weight of proving himself over and over again, never allowing victory to soften him. To him, a win is never the end. It's just another reminder that someone else will always be waiting next, hungry to take what's his. That mindset has kept him sharp, disciplined, and dangerous. As he prepares for one of the most unconventional and talked about fights in recent boxing memory, against social media sensation, Jake Paul. Tank's journey feels like a collision between two worlds, the old-school purity of boxing and the new-age spectacle of celebrity combat. For Tank Davis, every training camp is a ritual of pain and purpose. His days begin before sunrise, built around discipline rather than ego. He doesn't chase headlines. He chases perfection. This fight, no matter what people say, isn't just about Jake Paul. It's about reminding everyone why Tank's name commands respect in every gym across America. Inside his camp, nothing is taken lightly. Every drill is a test of endurance. Every punch is a weapon sharpened by repetition. Strength, speed, and balance, the holy trinity of Tank's dominance, are forged daily in sessions that push his limits. His trainers talk about how he works through exhaustion, perfecting every movement, understanding that when the bell rings, there's no room for hesitation. He's preparing to face not just a bigger man, but a different kind of challenge. A showman trying to stand toe-to-toe with a fighter born from struggle. On the other side of this spectacle stands Jake Paul, a man whose path to boxing fame couldn't be more different. Once dismissed as a YouTuber chasing attention, Jake has forced the sports world to take him seriously through relentless work and clever marketing. His training camp has become a laboratory of innovation. Surrounded by top-tier fighters like Shakur Stevenson, Raymond Ford, and Montana Love, Jake isn't just preparing for a fight. He's studying the science of survival. Every sparring session is designed to simulate the chaos Tank brings to the ring. He's learning speed, timing, and footwork, trying to erase the gap between entertainer and boxer. For Jake, this is more than a match. It's a chance to prove that fame doesn't mean fragility. But boxing purists see this as more than just a mismatch. It's a moral debate. Trainers, analysts, and former champions can't help but weigh in. Veteran coach Abel Sanchez calls it a double-edged opportunity. He knows fighters who've given their entire lives to boxing, youth, health, and hope, only to retire broke. For them, the Jake Paul fight looks like a payday that the sport owes Tank for years of sacrifice. Sanchez admits he doesn't love the matchup from a fan's perspective, but as a coach, he understands it completely. This isn't just a fight. It's a business decision. Boxing, he says, isn't pure anymore. It's financial survival. The fans see blood. The fighters see futures. That reality divides the boxing world. Some see Tank's choice as strategic, others as disappointing. Robert Garcia, himself a former world champion, believes Davis has every right to chase the rewards his fists have earned him. Still, he can't hide his frustration that Tank hasn't yet taken the matchups fans crave, rematches and rivalries that could cement his legacy. Garcia calls it a matter of timing. Fighters like Mayweather and Ali turn to exhibitions after conquering their divisions, not before. But he's also honest. If someone offered him $30 or $50 million for a similar spectacle, he wouldn't hesitate. Everyone has their price, and boxing has always been a sport where dreams are expensive. Then there are the voices like Bernie Thaw, representing the angry soul of the sport. For him, it's not about money, it's about meaning. He argues that boxing loses its essence when the best stop chasing the best. Fans, he says, don't tune in to count paychecks. They tune in to see warriors prove who's truly great. The Jake Paul fight to him feels like a circus act, a betrayal of boxing's old code. He reminds everyone that Tank is already rich, already a star. The crowd doesn't want to see a businessman. They want to see a fighter. Still, not everyone views this matchup as a joke. Chris Algieri sees the spectacle differently. He points out that boxing has evolved. Attention is currency now, and fighters who can fill arenas are the ones who keep the sport alive. Tank Davis and Jake Paul both command that kind of gravity. They bring eyes, energy, and anticipation. When Tank fights, people know something can happen at any second. That unpredictability is part of his genius. And Jake, for all his critics, has learned how to turn spectacle into substance. Their meeting isn't just a fight. It's the intersection of two empires, one built on legacy, the other on influence. But beneath the lights and contracts, the technical realities remain. Jake Paul is a big man, stronger and heavier than anyone Tank has faced. The size difference, nearly 60 pounds, has many questioning fairness and safety. Analysts like Carl Fruck and Paulie Malignaggi acknowledge that Jake's fights aren't staged, but they suspect the conditions are always tilted in his favor. Bigger gloves, heavier weight, friendly rules, all ways to neutralize the smaller fighter's power. Still, they admit that Tank's skill could upend everything. If this fight turns into a contest of pure boxing IQ, there's no comparison. Davis has fought real champions, and no amount of YouTube fame can replicate that kind of education. Shakur Stevenson, one of the sport's sharpest tacticians, offers perhaps the most balanced view. He respects Jake's work ethic but calls it what it is, a mismatch in craft. Stevenson predicts Tank will outbox him rather than chase a knockout. The size gap makes that too risky, but Davis's speed and precision can win every round. He doesn't need to land one big shot. He just needs to control the rhythm, make Jake chase shadows, and prove that class will always outweigh clout. In Stevenson's eyes, there's no realistic scenario where Jake wins, unless something unnatural happens. Even with the skepticism, the stage is set. Miami will host what's expected to be one of the biggest spectacles in modern boxing. The rules are unconventional: 10 3-minute rounds, 12-ounce gloves, and no official record added to their careers. Still, the hype is real. The weight cap sits at 195 pounds, forcing Tank to climb into an unfamiliar division. Jake, who once weighed over 220 pounds, will still be the naturally larger man. The danger is obvious, but so is the reward. For Tank, this fight is both risk and redemption. For Jake, it's validation. Behind the noise, the contrast couldn't be sharper. One man was molded in the crucible of Baltimore gyms, fighting his way out of poverty and into greatness. The other crafted his empire in front of cameras, using charisma and controversy to build an audience. Their collision symbolizes boxing's identity crisis: legacy versus spectacle, discipline versus influence, blood versus clicks. But in the end, when the bell rings, all the talk will fade. What's left will be two men under the same lights, breathing the same air and answering the same question: who really belongs in the ring? And as the world watches, everyone will have their own reason for tuning in. Some want to see Tank remind the world that boxing still belongs to the fighters who earned it. Others want to see if Jake can once again shock the system that laughed at him. But either way, the outcome will echo far beyond the final bell. It will define what the sport is becoming, and who gets to shape its future. What do you think? Will Gervonta Davis's experience and power dismantle Jake Paul's rise, or will the YouTube star's size and preparation rewrite boxing's story once again? Share your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe for more deep dive stories into the moments that redefine combat sports forever.